Hey, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This message that I have for y'all today was so uncomfortable to share that I actually recorded it and deleted it. And even today, as I woke up and was just in prayer and quiet time, I had to just come back and do this message and share this with you, no matter how comfortable I feel about sharing the message. So if you have been just praying to God, especially around kingdom marriage, especially around if you've been seeing things around weddings and marriage, then this message, I believe, is going to be confirmation for you. So definitely with everything that I share, pray about it, seek God beyond anything that I have to say, whatever you're hearing, definitely test it and make sure that this is what God would have you to hear today. And that's just through our relationship and our quiet time, that personal relationship with God. So I will be right back. I'm even more excited now about this message. And so I'm kind of glad that I deleted it before, because I've had even more eye-opening revelation since the initial recording. So don't go anywhere. You got about 20 seconds. Grab a notepad, grab a pen or something where you can read along with me. I'm reading from Matthew 25. If you want to go ahead and grab that and follow along with me in the message. All right. So I first want to just tell you this message is about a dream that I had. And I had this dream years ago, and I did not remember having this dream. If I would have thought about it, I would have remembered having the dream, but I was not thinking about this dream. And then I woke up extremely early a few days ago, and this dream came to mind crystal clear. And I record my dreams. So I went back to reread the dream, and it was just so encouraging. So I'm going to share with you the dream first, and then I'm going to get into Matthew 25, just to tell you a little bit about what the dream meant. So in the dream, it was in I was basically like in a banquet hall. It was this beautiful banquet hall at a place that, to me, this physical place actually represents transition. It represents a graduation. It represents a status change. That's the best way I can explain it. And in the dream, there were lines of people, and I'm actually pulling the dream up so I can make sure I don't miss anything important from it. But in the dream, there were lines of people, and I was helping to coordinate. There were women in line, men in line, and everyone was getting married. It was this beautiful wedding, and we knew that everyone that was here was getting married, everyone that was lined up. And there are two important things that happened in the dream that now, this dream, like I said, was a few years ago. Two specific people that I knew by name in the dream. What I dreamed about for them has actually happened. So for one person, it's been like a celebration and just this huge blessing. For the other person, I feel like it was more of a warning, which is kind of it was actually something sad that happened, but I saw it in the dream. And the encouragement for you all, part of that, I feel like, because so much time has passed at this time, I wasn't sharing messages the way that I share them now. So because so much time has passed, God has been able to confirm to me the symbols in this dream, the meaning behind the dream, and how it correlates with now. So one part of the dream, I was getting kind of sidetracked. I had to go run and take care of something that was personal to me in the dream. And when I came back, people were saying, and I wrote this exactly this way, people were saying that they had been looking for me because they needed me to make it happen. They needed me so that the wedding could carry on. And I'll get into what I think that means too. But it was this huge room, and everyone was just getting ready, and we were checking and making sure everything was great. So the first part of they needed me to make it happen, I really believe it's God speaking specifically to me about not being afraid in my purpose, not getting distracted, not thinking that it's not a big deal. And I believe for many of you, this scenario is truly what God is speaking to you. You have been called to something so incredible, so unique, that you've been gifted for. There is a blessing that is on you. There is a mantle on you. There is a purpose that is on you. There is a ministry on many of you. There is a business on many of you. There is a burden on your heart to do things in your community, to make a difference in a specific area. We are the hands and the feet of Jesus. And so when God has given you a vision, sometimes we can shy away and we can get distracted. And the confirmation to me in that dream also, is evidenced by what I'm doing right now, even in sharing this message. And I tried to get scared and distracted, or tried to hide the message and not even share it. And I couldn't sit this message down. So that may be the case for many of you, that you've been praying to God. When, how do I need to show up? What do I need to be doing? This is confirmation that the very gifts that God has given you in the places. The thing that was so amazing to me is it was in the place that I was in. It was exactly where I needed to be at that time. And the distraction was trying to get me out of the room, get me out of the place where it was going to help all of these people walk into their marital bliss. Because if I was holding up the process by not being where I needed to be. And as soon as I came back, they said, we needed you to make it happen. And then it was go time. And then everyone started lining up. And so I'm going to read from Matthew 25 and go just to share, a little more about what God was showing me with this. So as I thought about the dream, I'm like, okay, does this mean, are we back to marriages? And that is what I was thinking. And then this is what came to mind for me. Matthew 25. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. The foolish ones took their lamps, but did not take any oil with them. The wise ones, however, took oil in jars along with their lamps. The bridegroom was a long time in coming, and they all became drowsy and fell asleep. Read Matthew 25, go back to 24, take it a few chapters before that too, when you get a chance, but read it. But I'm going to read this message in its entirety so you can hear it exactly as it's written. At midnight, the cry rang out, "Here is the bridegroom, come out to meet him." Then all the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish one said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, our lamps are going out." "No," they replied, "there may not be enough for both us and you. Instead, go to those who sell oil and buy some for yourselves." But while they were on their way to buy the oil, the bridegroom arrived. The virgins who were ready went in with him to the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Later, the others also came. "Lord, Lord," they said, "open the door for us." But he replied, "Truly, I tell you, I don't know you. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour." It's just such a powerful message. And he goes on to talk about a message I've shared before with the story of the talents, and what it came to be, what it summed up, how it was summed up was, when you are faithful over little, I will make you ruler over much. For those that hid him, when he said, "Depart from me, I never knew you. Depart from me." And so I just want to encourage you all with this, because when we think about the task, when we think about the time that we have, when we think about what this message even means, it's such an eye-opening reminder to wake up. And it said that the virgins with that oil, they were asleep. They weren't paying attention. They thought they had forever. They thought they had all this time. They didn't prepare themselves. And this beautiful wedding was awaiting them. And so I think, like, in this dream, it's been like a twofold thing. Spiritually, we need to be ready. We need to be seeking God. We need to build that relationship for ourselves. And I'm telling you all, so often I'll see people arguing over who interpreted this right. I've shared this. Who interpreted that wrong? What you need to be wearing? Why you need to be wearing it this way? That earring is demonic, and just different things. And maybe the earring is demonic. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. There's a lot going on out here in these streets. So I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that it's the distraction. In the dream, I was distracted by literally something that was so little that I missed, or was putting myself at risk of missing where I needed to be at that time. And so for many of you, I'm telling you right now, you don't have time. You don't have the time to be arguing with people. You don't have the time to be going tit for tat. Should you wear white socks or red socks? Or should it be this? Should it be that? And I'm telling you this, especially for those of you who are believers, because if you sit around long enough, when I think about different delays that I've had in my life, or people that I watch, or ministries that I respected, or people that I was listening to, or voices that were speaking out, the strong and wrong voices. And I say strong and wrong because many people that I know just years ago were so emphatic and so determined about something. And now years later, they don't even believe the same thing. So what I'm telling you is, you do not have time. You don't have time to be going back and forth with people. It's not your job to convince anyone, because what he said was, I did not know you. I don't know you. It didn't say what ministry leader are you cool with. He didn't say who were you following long enough. He didn't say how perfectly did you stop listening to this type of music and stop saying these types of words or doing these types of things. That's great. Because I know that God brings us to a lifestyle of holiness, but it's not in our own strength. If we could do it in our own strength, we never would have needed God. And so I just really want to encourage you guys to not get distracted. Don't get distracted. This wedding represented preparation. This wedding represented just so much beauty because he knew them. And we have this time. And if you get a chance, like I said, read all of Matthew 25, keep going down, because for whoever has will be given more. And I'm skipping down to verse 29. And they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And it's just such an eye-opening thing to think that the one that missed out was was distracted, was worried about all of these small things, that they missed the opportunity to enter into the kingdom. And I don't even know if I said that right. So I don't want to say enter into the kingdom. They missed again, how it was likened to heaven, that part. So that's the first part of this dream that I just want to encourage you about. And the second piece that I want to encourage you, and this is naturally, and I really do believe that this pertains to actual weddings. And I believe that so much because today I was in a space that I'm like never in online, and I wasn't even paying attention. And all out of nowhere, all of these traditional weddings started popping up from just different countries, different traditions, different things. And it was so beautiful to me because one of the things that, as I started looking into like the cultural aspects of it and the importance of it, there was one video that I was watching where the bride, she was breaking down every piece of the wedding. And it was a Ghanaian style wedding. And it was just so beautiful. But as she was talking about it, as she talked about basically like the dowry where the groom had paid the price for her, I was just like jaw dropped, because I'm like, I cannot get away from this message. But it's so beautiful because we know that our dowry was paid, that Jesus died for us. We know that the price has been paid. So people trying to have you, and I just want to encourage y'all on this because it keeps coming back up to me, but people who are trying to put you in bondage and have you believing that you have to do all of these works, I'm telling you, get to know God for yourself. Because when he can say, I know you, that's another level. There are things that I no longer do. And when I tell y'all I used to do a lot, there are things that I no longer do. And it was not in my strength. I didn't have the ability to just stop doing certain things. I didn't have it. And many of us don't. If we had that ability, we would stop. And so I want to share that with you because I know that what we're used to hearing, what you may expect to hear next, is that you need to show up perfect. Your preparation season is become perfect. And then, and only then will God bless you with that next step. But the thing that was so beautiful, even as I was looking at these traditional weddings, it wasn't so much that these people were perfect. They weren't perfect. The bride wasn't perfect. In these weddings, the groom wasn't perfect. But as I was listening to like the family talk about them, they were perfect for each other. There was a mantle that the bride had. There was a gift that the groom had. And when they came together, it was just explosive, like fireworks, in a way that they were ready to run. And they were going to be able to run together. And I believe that's why this keeps coming up, because many of you are questioning, have you heard from God? And if you're questioning, God, did I hear you right? I'm telling you, seek him. God will confirm. God will confirm. But the whole voice or the idea that you need to set down what his promises are, I'm telling you, be faithful over every place that the sole of your feet is touched. Be faithful over every promise that God has given you. Be faithful over every idea, every vision, every piece of purpose, every answered prayer, every word of clarity that God has given you. Be faithful. Don't sleep in this season. Do not sleep in this season. Go out and carry out the Great Commission. Go out and max out where God has called you, because we, love it or hate it, we live on this earth. So your assignment, as long as you are breathing air and walking on this earth, is attached to what you do right now on this earth. It does not say, when he talked about it's likened to a servant or it's likened to a bride, it didn't say it's likened to a servant who, when he went away, he sent his, or a master, and he sent his servants out of the earth. And then like it's right now how you're being faithful. It's what you have access to now. It's a home that you live in or don't live in right now. It's the job that you have right now or don't have right now. It's where your feet are planted right now that God is calling you to be faithful over. So the thing that we can get caught up in is when we think about the 10 virgins, we can get caught up in the 5 that weren't prepared. We can get caught up in the story of the talents of the one that hid his talent. But can we look at the fact that the celebration that would have happened for the ones that he looked at and said, I know you. For the ones that he looked at and said, you've been faithful over a little, I'm going to make you ruler over much. And I want to read that in his exact statement. He said, whoo, look, y'all, it's so hard. It's so hard to not want to just keep reading beyond it. He said, well done, good and faithful servant. This is Matthew 25:23. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. And I know there are different versions. So go and just like I said, Matthew 25. But this preparation season, the preparation is that oil. The preparation is seeking God. The preparation is being in your prayer time. The preparation is how I told y'all in Matthew 6, when he talks about like Jesus laid out the lifestyle, being a giver, fasting, praying, being clear, like when I tell y'all, enjoying each day, gratitude. I just got a video my dad sent, and I've had so many eye-opening moments, but my dad sent this video and it was just a time. It was just another day. There was nothing at the time that the video was shot. There was nothing special about that day. But when my dad and I were having the conversation of who's no longer here, that was in that video, that who's no longer here. And when you think about that and you think about each moment and how precious it is and how much we need to embrace it and be joyful. And this isn't be joyful when the next thing comes. This is being joyful in this season. This is being appreciative and having gratitude and being thankful and letting God know your request, because throughout his word, he says, ask and it shall be given. Let your request be made known to God. But it's also in a place of thanksgiving. You're not going to have to track down this next blessing. You're not going to have to, it's kind of like, I always talk about that babysitting. You're not going to have to trust God and believe God for this next thing and have to chase it down and follow and get a day-to-day report, status check. That is not what this is. And so for those of you where you know God is calling you into the season of marriage, he's calling you into this wedding season. It's for all of us, whether you have even a desire to be married or not. We are the bridegroom. And it's so beautiful to me because I mean, we're not the bridegroom. We are the bride. We are those who are in position to gather the oil. We are in position right now to be faithful over everything that God has given us, to be prepared for this next season and the season after and the season after and wherever God is ordering our steps, because trust and believe for each of us, our steps are ordered in a different path. Overall, the mission is the same. Overall, the purpose is the same. But where you are blooming, where you are planted is totally different for all of us. So my encouragement to you today is to bloom wherever that is, to be thankful wherever that is. It's like Paul said, he said he knew how to be abased and how to be abound. He knew how to be thankful in the down times and be grateful in the good times. And I just encourage y'all with this message. And for those of you, again, take it to God. If you know that God has been confirming to you marriage, confirming to you this wedding season, please don't let someone else, including me, like don't let someone else steer you from what God is saying. And the way that you do that is truly seeking him for yourself. And I know that I just stand in a place of confirmation because like I said, even with that dream, it was years ago. And just this week, it came to mind for me and I was easily able to find it. And I have so many dreams that usually I can think about a dream and I'm like, man, it would take me forever to find it. And that one just came up. And there's so much confirmation outside of that. So stay the course, y'all. Stand strong. Ephesians 6, put on the full armor of God so you can withstand when these fiery darts come, when these things that aren't truth try to come to distract you and sidetrack you and have you giving up and have you miserable and have you down and out. That is not your portion. The oil of joy is your portion. So read Isaiah 61 as well to get that confirmation. And you may as well, if you're going to go into Isaiah, start at Isaiah 54 and read all the way to 61, just whenever you get time throughout the coming weeks. And I promise you won't be disappointed. So That is my message for y'all. I hope that resonated with whoever this was for. I hope that it encouraged you. I hope that it has been a blessing. And I just thank you for those of you who have been supporting, who have subscribed, who have been leaving comments. I thank you so much for your support. And as I'm always telling you, go out and make today amazing, amazing, because it's absolutely a choice. Y'all can connect with me across social media at Erica Empowers. Tag somebody, tell somebody, share this if it resonated with you. Take care.